Manchester City team news and injury latest versus Aston Villa. Manchester City face Aston Villa in the Premier League this weekend as they look to make it 10 games unbeaten in all competitions. The Blues beat Villarreal in the Champions League on Tuesday night. The 2-0 win saw Erling Haaland continue his prolific form, while Bernardo Silva was also on target. The only downside for City was Nico Gonzalez being forced off injured in the second half. Guardiola will provide an update on the midfielder as well, the latest on the fitness of Rodri and Abdulkadir Kusanov this afternoon. A win for City this weekend would see them stretch their unbeaten run in all competitions to 10 games and keep the pressure on league leaders Arsenal. Matheus Nunes might have looked on enviously at Rico Lewis on Tuesday night. A midfielder forced into a right-back role finally unleashed back in his favoured position. It says plenty about both players that when the team sheet dropped at Estadio de la Ceramica, there was never any doubt it was going to be Nunes at right-back and Lewis in midfield. Nunes might have been signed as a £53 million midfielder, but Pep Guardiola has long since abandoned any attempts to find a role for him there. Of his 81 appearances, only 27 have come in a central midfield role, and it's nearly a year since he started a game centrally in the chaotic Champions League draw with Feyenoord at the Etihad. After last season's Manchester derby at Old Trafford, Guardiola said Nunes lacked the physicality to play in midfield. And although he referred to him as a midfield player last month, it was only in the sense of what he can bring in attacking areas. City's unbeaten run now stands at 9 in all competitions following their 2-0 win over Everton last weekend and then victory at Villarreal in the Champions League in midweek. Those results mean City have 7 points from 9 in the Champions League phase and are well placed to make the top 8 as we approach the halfway mark. In the Premier League, the Blues are up to second and 3 points adrift of leaders Arsenal. The Gunners also play Sunday with a home game against Aston Villa. Wearing a pink tracksuit, Erling Haaland climbs out of his footballer's car at Green Oaks Farm on his way to Manchester City training. There to pick up some raw milk, the Norwegian leaves with enough beef to feed a large family and several pots of honey under his arm. And he departs with an offer for his next visit as well. Next time he comes to the family-run farm, he can milk one of the cows. The smile on his face suggests he would be up for it, and he greets the suggestion with enthusiasm. He leaves with a thank you for proprietor Helen and is clearly a regular at the independent business. It's all part of the daily life of the most consistent goalscorer in world football. The insight comes from Haaland's new YouTube channel, launched today, Thursday, and which opens with a 27-minute video detailing a day in the life of the superstar striker. From his morning coffee at 8 a.m, through breakfast, a series of stretches, to training at the City Football Academy, and then back home for an ice bath, sauna, and the chance to cook dinner with girlfriend Isabel Haugseng Johansson. It is a revealing demonstration of what it takes to reach the very top of the game. Every decision the 25-year-old makes during the day is centered around his profession and what will help him. Manchester City and Pep Guardiola must find compromise as Blues face another fixture list handicap. Manchester City played 8 academy graduates in the last round of the Carabao Cup, with another 2 unused substitutes. For the second EFL Trophy game in a row, Manchester City will have to make some tough decisions around their academy stars next week. Ben Wilkinson's side have had a mixed bag of it so far, beating Oldham Athletic 5-1 at Boundary Park before losing 3-0 to Bolton Wanderers. That makes next week's trip to the New York Stadium to face Rotherham the decisive fixture in their bid to reach the knockout stages. Part of that is the learning curve for young footballers of suddenly going up against senior professionals, but against Bolton, they were compromised by the fact that the first team played at Huddersfield in the third round of the Carabao Cup the following night. 10 academy graduates were named in Pep Guardiola's matchday squad, and of those, Stephen Mfuni, Caden Braithwaite, Jaden Heskey, Ryan Heskey, and Divine Mukasa could all potentially have played for the under-21s at Bolton instead. Ryan Heskey did actually play on successive nights. City took great delight in that kind of academy representation in West Yorkshire in a first-team competition. There were 3 debuts in total, and it was a night of valuable experience for many of those players used to being involved in Wilkinson's group. But history is not guaranteed to be repeated next week. City's development squad will take on Rotherham on Tuesday night, while the first team will be in South Wales on Wednesday to face Swansea in the 4th round of the Carabao Cup. Guardiola could run the rule of some of his young guns instead, but as things stand, his squad is in a much stronger position fitness-wise now than they were a month ago. There is little room for academy involvement. None of those youngsters were in first-team training ahead of the trip to Villarreal this week, and if the squad continues to get a clean bill of health, City could field two completely different XIs against Aston Villa on Sunday and Swansea on Wednesday without the need to raid Wilkinson's group. So it might make sense for the EDS head coach to be given a strong squad to take to Rotherham. They sit third in the group behind City, but can leapfrog them to qualify by winning or by drawing, and then winning the penalty shootout that follows when group stage games finish level. The stakes make it another test for those academy players, and Wilkinson will want them to reach the knockout stages and give them more games in this competition. To achieve that, he might be able to field his strongest squad without Guardiola taking any of those young stars off him this week. After that early win at Oldham, he was full of praise for the team, but also urged them to make sure they built on the performance the scoreline. You don't get too many nights like this in this competition, so they should be really proud of what they've done, he said. But also that we have to use it as a springboard to not waste in the next two EFL trophy games, and to make sure that in those two games we give the best account of ourselves and we do absolutely everything to get through to the next stage. If City's young guns were to win 5-1 at Oldham but not get out of the group, that would feel like a waste. Inside Erling Haaland's off-field rituals, including cow milking and ice baths, we were given a rare insight into the daily routine of Erling Haaland in a YouTube channel the Manchester City star launched on Thursday, with more videos to come. Erling Haaland, donning a pink tracksuit, hops out of his swanky motor at Green Oaks Farm en route to Manchester City training. The Norwegian footballer stops by to pick up some raw milk and leaves with enough beef to feed a large family, not forgetting several pots of honey tucked under his arm. He bids farewell to Helen, the proprietor, clearly a familiar face at this independent business. Just another day in the life of the world's most consistent goalscorer. These insights are courtesy of Haaland's newly launched YouTube channel, which kicked off today with a 27-minute video giving fans a glimpse into a day in the life of the superstar striker. From his morning coffee at 8 a.m, breakfast, a series of stretches, training at the City Football Academy, and then back home for an ice bath, sauna, and cooking dinner with girlfriend Isabel Haugseng Johansson. It's a revealing look at what it takes to reach the pinnacle of the beautiful game. Every decision the 25-year-old makes throughout his day is centered around his profession and what will aid him in his career. From his morning brew to his breakfast routine, Mario Pafundi, the sports therapist at City who works closely with Haaland, turns up at the striker's home for a series of stretches before he heads off for training. Following training, Haaland chats through his evening meal options and pauses his cooking for an ice bath and sauna at home, a ritual he follows most days of the week. People always see the matches, the goals, the celebrations, but not the hours that go into being ready for all of that, said Haaland. This video shows the routine, the food, the recovery, the small details that matter. It's a bit of who I am away from the pitch, and I hope people enjoy seeing that side. The launch of the channel represents a personal project aimed at providing direct access to Haaland's world. It will function as his own platform to share original content and offer broader insights into his training, lifestyle and interests beyond the game. During his stretches with Pafundi, Haaland remembers his acrobatic goal against Borussia Dortmund in the Champions League and how John Stones had netted a belter of his own a few minutes earlier, only to be upstaged. John told me, "I scored the best goal of my life and you just come and destroy everything," Haaland revealed. While receiving massages from Pafundi, the Premier League's leading scorer rests his head on a match ball from the Champions League final in Istanbul, casually recalling the date City clinched their trophies en route to the treble. Throughout it all, Haaland appears comfortable and natural in front of the camera. His visit to the local farm shop and his friendly banter with Helen are testament to this. Manchester City give major North Stand update with hundreds facing seat move. Manchester City have announced new plans for the North Stand that include the top tier but also the area behind the goal. Manchester City will welcome more than 4,000 flexi-season tickets when they open the top tier of the expanded North Stand next year. But hundreds of supporters behind the goal will have to move seats. As part of the changes, 2 new bars are coming to the North Stand. Crossbar will house 300 supporters in the new section. while City Hall will be a new experience for fans on match days for 500 that will require up to the same number of supporters currently sitting behind the goal to move seats. The hundreds who have been affected have been informed this morning, with the club putting a number of measures in place to try to soften the blow of the change if supporters do not wish to be part of the new hospitality area. These include a priority relocation window anywhere in the stadium for the same price they are currently paying, a 2-year price freeze, and the option to relocate with family or friends, even if not all of the group are affected by the changes. While work on the new stand is expected to finish in early 2026, the City Hall space will only be in operation from the 2026/27 season, and anyone affected will have months to decide on the best option for them. However, the club will be braced for complaints from supporters, as they were when they moved fans in the Colin Bell stand to create the Tunnel Club. With more than 6,000 new seats in the top tier of the stadium that will take the capacity to over 60,000, City have committed to more than 4,000 new flexi-season tickets. Half of them will be kept for junior citizens, as the club looks to make season tickets accessible